Hey everyone, today is the day, finally. I have had the Pioneer XDP-02U for 2 months now. I got this May 20th of this year. So I've had this player now for roughly 2 months. So let's just say I have gotten to know it a little bit and give you guys a thorough review, a more in-depth review. And there are a few things that I don't like, but there are a lot more things that I do like. So we will talk about that. But first, let's go over the specs, the features. Then we'll go over the build quality. We'll go into the history of Pioneer a little bit, maybe. We'll talk about afterwards, what I don't like, what I do like, and then we'll talk about the sound. So if you guys haven't seen my unboxing, I'll put a link in the description. So if you're a brand new audio enthusiast and you're looking for a high-res digital music player, first of all, you have two types of digital music players. You have your MP3 player, like your Sanzas, your iPods, and basically that's all they can play is an MP3 file. An MP3 file is a compressed audio file, and because it's compressed, it's smaller. So most MP3 files back in the days, they had very little or limited storage, so they could only store, so many music files or music. So MP3 files were, let's say, a plus back in those days, because back in those days your memory space was limited. So the compressed MP3 file being compressed and being a smaller size, you can get more songs or titles into your small MP3 player with limited storage. But nowadays, especially with the advent of high-res digital music players or digital audio players, and some of them you can add extra storage and memory. Some of them, basically most of them, are like, at the most, they start off at 16 gigs. Now you can use more larger or bigger files, and that's what a high-res music file is. A high-res music file is an uncompressed file that's in higher quality, so you don't lose none of the information or detail that was lost through MP3 recording. So now that we got that out of the way, like I said, there's so many high-res digital audio players to choose from, even not just online searching through the internet, but even just for me searching through Amazon. So I wanted to pick the one that had the best bang for the buck, because I'm a beginning audio enthusiast and I'm on a limited budget. I don't have a lot of money to spare, especially during these times of COVID-19, quarantine, pandemic, and all this stuff. Some of us right now have lost our jobs. Some of us are like laid off until, the quarantine ends. So we're not getting the money, or we're not making as much as we used to, for most of us. And so I had to being aware of that, I had to be budget conscious, and I had to make my choice on price to performance, getting the most bang for my buck. And that's when I finally settled on this Pioneer high-res digital audio player. So the XDP-02U that I settled on, like I said, had the most features. It has a lot of the features that its more expensive big brother or sister has. Let's talk about that in a little bit. So Pioneer, why I decided on Pioneer is because, like I said in the unboxing, and I'll put a link in the description, Pioneer has been in the audio game for a very long time. They started out in Tokyo in 1938 as a audio stereo shop, just like your Radio Shacks, or they still have Radio Shacks. And then they branched out into other, industries like car stereo equipment. I remember when I was in high school, that's how most people had were Pioneer high-end stereo systems in their cars. And then they also have their Elite series of home audio entertainment, 7.1 surround sound entertainment systems. So since 1938, that's a long time to be in the audio game. So they should know what they're doing when it comes to audio, right? And so this player, the XDP-02U, I'm just going to call it the 02U, is the third iteration of Pioneer's high-res digital audio players. The first one, I believe, was the 100U, and then that was followed by the 300U, which was more streamlined. And those two are more premium, of a more premium build quality, made out of metal or aluminum. And they use, I believe, an Android. They use Android version 6 or 7 as their operating system. And so those two were the more high-end, meaning, I believe back when they were brand new, they're almost $1,000. I think they were like $800 or $799 or $600. Now they're like $699 for those music players. Onkyo, which is the sister company of Pioneer, which bought out Pioneer electronics division, they also have their own, which is based off of the 300 XDP-U. Basically, this little player right here has almost all of the same features as its higher end brethren. It's got the twin DAC. It's got twin SD card expansion slots. So it has built-in 16 gigs, but you can expand it with two 256 gigabyte cards for a total of over 528 gigs of storage, which is a lot of music. Okay. This also has Bluetooth 4.0 or Bluetooth Lite. It has Wi-Fi, built-in Wi-Fi, 5 gigahertz, 2.5 gigahertz, 802.11 for network streaming, which even some of your most expensive high-res digital audio players like Astel and Kern or Koan don't even have. And you will see in my review why that's important, because I use a lot of the streaming services, well, one in particular. This has a 2.4 inch full color touchscreen, 320 by 240 pixels. It's got a very intuitive interface based, I don't know if it's probably based off of Android or Linux. It's Pioneer's own homebrewed interface or software for this device. That's what makes it different from its higher siblings that have Android, where you can, I guess you can download or put in the Play Store on their higher end ones. It's got native support for MQA files. And if you guys don't know what MQA files are, MQA is master quality authenticated music files, which is a very high quality music file that is kind of like the way the artist intended for the music. And it's also not as large as some of the other files like FLAC, ALAC, or WAV files. It has native DSD playback for like 5.6 megahertz, and it can play back up to 192 kilohertz at 32-bit. And again, it also supports basic MP3 and your AAC, which is Apple files, Apple audio codecs or something like that. And so this also has support, like I said, because of its built-in Wi-Fi. It has support for Deezer, Hi-Fi, Tidal, TuneIn, and maybe others. It supposedly has a 15 hours of playback, but I got kind of less than that, and we'll talk about that in the battery life section. Like I said, two twin ESS Saber DACs, the ES9018 Saber DAC. It also has two high output amplifiers, the ESS Saber ES9601 high output amplifiers. It also has two headphone outputs, one for regular 3.5 and one for 2.5 balance connection. So this little player has so many features, almost the same amount of features as its more expensive siblings. And so the XDP-02U also comes in 3 colors. This is the white version that I have. but it also comes in blue and a pink color. But regardless of the color you get, the volume is the same on all of them. The volume knob right here, or the volume toggle switch, the up and down volume switch, it's all like a rose gold or pinkish color. So for all of you that didn't see my unboxing, but you've been following my channel for a while, you also know that I got this LG V35 ThinQ right here. And so you might be wondering why, because I said in my LG V35 unboxing that this LG V35 ThinQ, basically it can double as a high-res digital audio player, and it does, yeah. But does it match this small little player right here, the Pioneer player? And in one short word, no, not quite. And the one thing about this LG V35 ThinQ over the versus the Pioneer, this Pioneer high-res digital audio player, is that for all of you that don't know or don't follow my channel, I also got these Fostex. These are the Fostex T20 RP MK3s, and these are one of the hardest headphones to drive. This has an impedance of 50 ohms, but it has a very high power requirement, and this is a planar magnetic headphone. And so with a normal smartphone, with my normal, like my old Galaxy Note 4, which still has a headphone jack, and my HTC Deluxe, or what would be the Droid DNA on Verizon, or this V35 ThinQ, it could not power or it couldn't drive these headphones. You could hear music on it, but for me, not to satisfactory levels or good enough volume levels to enjoy listening to music, at least not with none of those phones. Only the Pioneer was able to drive it at pretty decent levels, and even with the Pioneer, I had to use a balance adapter and the balance connection to drive it just loud enough and get it to play music well enough to where that I really liked listening to the headphones with the player, with just the player, not with an amp. Because as you guys know, I also got some amps, some portable amps, like this Empire amp right here. So in a nutshell, if you guys do not want to watch this full review, I do like this player. I love the sound of this player with any headphones, but especially with my Fostex. So that's in short a summary of the player. It sounds better than any of the other devices that I have, or smartphones that I have for listening to music, or even my laptop. And the only one that makes these headphones sound really good is my desktop, which has a dedicated amplifier, but we'll get into that in a little bit. And I do recommend it, but only for certain people who know what they're looking for in a high-res digital audio player. So with that out of the way, let's talk about first what I don't like, because there's only a few things that I don't like, or cons you can consider cons to this player, and then everything else is, you know, a plus I like. So first off, I'm gonna turn on the player and let's see how fast it takes to boot up. So it doesn't take as long to go on, because like I said, Pioneer uses their own operating system for this, which is probably a version of Linux or Android. It's not a full-on Android music player like its higher end siblings, so it boots up much faster, and the interface is very intuitive. You just have this home screen right here, and there are all the things that you need. So if I hit library, I can go into my SD cards that I would have stored in here, and look for my music files or the built-in storage actually, and and then there you go. See, it says internal storage. You can go back right here. It has the back button, has the home button. So if you're anywhere, regardless of where you are, you can always go back to the home button. And it's a very simple and very intuitive interface, very easy. It's only when when I use the Wi-Fi connection and then go to my title that it kind of and the screen is also very responsive, that it kind of makes it a little bit irritating for me, because let's say I want to go, I go to search and I want to look for a new music file. Trying to find new music files with this type of keyboard is a pain in the butt. You don't have the option to like say do a voice search, right? So normally, how do I go around this? Well, what I normally do, so all I do is I go to my smartphone, do the search on my smartphone or my laptop, and then find a music file or track that I want, add it to my collection, and then when I go back to title, it'll be over there. Okay, so that's the major biggest problem I have with this small screen. Otherwise, the size of the screen being so small does not really bother me, because like I said, the interface is very good. It's very intuitive and very easy to navigate. Very easy. I mean, you can find basically everything you need to find or want to look for on this home screen right here. Whether it's connecting your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, checking out the settings, going to your online music sources and things like that. It's very easy. Library, is intuitive. It tells you library is what you have stored inside your SD cards or the built-in storage on this. So that's the one biggest negative I have, when doing online searches, it's a pain in the butt because of the keyboard, or you can't do voice search. So I just use my smartphone or my laptop to do the searches. Okay, the other thing that I don't like, or I haven't gotten to work, is USB OTG. If you guys don't know what USB OTG is, USB OTG is just basically USB on the go. My laptop or my desktop could not recognize this on USB OTG, and I have a special connector. You have to have a special OTG connector for this, which it didn't come with, by the way. It only came with the charging cable, and that was it, plus the screen protector. So the OTG connection would not work and would not get recognized, either through my desktop or my laptop. But it did work, oddly enough, with my smartphone, which I didn't really need it to work on. I needed it to work on my laptop and not my smartphone. The line out is also very picky on this thing when you're using the line out connection right here. Whoops. And when you have line out, then you can't use the other connections here. Once you have line out, you cannot use both headphone ports at the same time, or else you'll fry the circuitry in here. And then the only thing I don't like is the screen protector. So it's a plastic screen protector. Now the screen, like I said, is too small, but it has a very easy to use and very intuitive interface. But the screen protector is plastic, and so if you're not good putting on screen protectors, as you can see, every now and then it does show, like this part right here, where it didn't like the adhesive did not really try to stick onto the screen. So that's pretty much what I don't like. The plastic screen protector, the screen or the keyboard being too small for title searches, USB OTG not working with my laptop or desktop, and screen protector, screen small size being small, and the USB OTG. So those are the only things I don't like about this MP3 or this high-res digital audio player. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the build quality of this MP3 player. So like I said, it's more expensive. Siblings are all made out of, are all metal. This is all plastic, made to kind of look like metal if you have I believe the blue one, or even this part right here, the volume knob kind of looks like metal, but it's all plastic. And I'm not a snob or an elitist audiophile or audio snob that just because it's plastic I think it's a lower quality, because plastic has their place. Some of the most durable structures are made out of plastic, like your bulletproof glass or riot shields are plastic, just a different layering of plastic. And so the plastic doesn't bother me much, because if it was all metal, this MP3 player or this high-res digital audio player would be all scratched up right now. But as you can tell, in the 2 months that I've had it, there are no scratches on this high-res audio player, this Pioneer player. So that's really good. And with it being plastic, it feels heavy enough because of its thickness. Let's say compared to my Note 10 Plus, you see how much thicker it is. Or with the LG, my LG V35, it's thicker than both of these. Almost as thick as both of them put together. And so if it was made out of metal, it would probably be a lot heavier. So I don't mind the plastic build quality. And like I said, the only thing I didn't like was the screen being kind of too small, that you didn't have the proper keyboard layout for this audio player. So other than that, it's a very good, it has a pretty good build quality. So starting from up top, as you can tell, we have the power switch, the power LED next to the power switch, your 3.5 connector, and a 2.5 balance connection. Right on the bottom, you can see the screws for this audio player, and then the micro USB port right there. On the left side is your playback functions, and these work even when the screen is off. So it's good to just like toggle or shuffle the music without even having to go into the screen with these toggle buttons right here. So right here is your back button, your play pause button, and your skip forward button, and then your two micro SD card slots. Right here on the right hand side is your volume toggle for volume down, volume up, and then right here it says twin DAC to remind you that it has twin DACs. It also has twin amps, 2 amps, one for the balance connection and one for the 3.5 connection. And with this twin amps, it could power even your most, let's say, highest impedance headphones of up to 600 ohms. So it's pretty impressive for such a small little player. And like I said, this little player was the only one that could power my Fostex headphones to pretty decent volumes, or loud enough, you know, enjoyable listening volumes for music. So build quality, really no issues. I mean, they could have made it metal, but then it would have been more expensive and it would have been more heavier. And then the screen, I wish it would have been a lot bigger. But again, if the screen was a lot bigger, then it would have been more expensive. So I'm okay with that as far as that goes. Okay, connectivity. As you know, this does have Bluetooth. I believe it's 4.0 or Bluetooth Lite, and it has built-in Wi-Fi 802.11. Now, Wi-Fi was pretty good. It was only like every now and then if I, because I have this programmed to shut down after 10 minutes of inactivity. So if I'm just under that 10 minutes, just a little bit, like say 9 minutes, and I wasn't doing anything, sometimes I will lose my Wi-Fi connection, and it's not that strong. And then Bluetooth connection is pretty good too, as long as it's within line of sight. Once it loses line of sight, you're disconnected, and that's it. And it connected pretty easily with my headphones, but not so much with my desktop and laptop. For Bluetooth pairing with those, it didn't really connect as easily with my desktop or my laptop. But then again, I mean, why would I connect it to my desktop or laptop if I can't really play it through there, right? The only thing I wanted to test this out for was for its to be able to be used as a digital audio compressor or a DAC for my laptop, but it wouldn't work. Like I said, through OTG it couldn't work. With line out, it's just line out, then I would still have to have it hooked up to a speaker, and for that it did somewhat work, but not as well. So connectivity it's okay. It's not that bad, but it's not that great either. So as you guys can see, I have my Wi-Fi connected, my Bluetooth. Oh, one thing too with Bluetooth is this didn't even mention it in the features when I first bought it, but it had an update, at least one update, firmware update from when I got it, which added aptX to it. As you can see right there, it now can play aptX via Bluetooth with your Bluetooth speakers. So that was pretty good. But normally, if I don't really use my Bluetooth headphones with this, so I would just normally turn Bluetooth off. As you can see, when my Bluetooth is turned on, you can see what I have it connected to. It connected to my TV, my desktop, my Soundcore Liberty 2 Pros, and I also got it to connect with my Waves KT1s, but for some reason it's not showing up. So connectivity overall, I would say out of 5 stars, it gets a 3.5 out of 5 stars, because the Bluetooth connection is not that strong. When you leave the room with this, if it's not within line of sight, it'll lose Bluetooth connectivity, and then the Wi-Fi loses connectivity sometimes if you haven't been doing anything or listening to music for over 5 minutes. Battery life. Let's talk about the battery life on this. It's not the full rated 15 hours of playback time. I would say maybe if I was listening to MP3 files at like half volume, medium volume, 50% volume, then maybe I might get 15 hours. But the most I got was like a little over 10 hours. And that's with listening to at between 75 to 80% volume. And the volume is, or the battery life is even less if I use it with my amplifier, with the portable amplifier or amp DAC. So battery life, as far as it's rated 15 hours of playback time, did not really meet the specs on this player. You're looking at more like, if you're like me who like listening to your music in louder volumes, between 70 to 80% or even 90% volume, you're only going to get at the most like 9, a little over 9, just slightly under 10 hours of battery life, which is not bad. That's, to me, is, it's not like I'd listen to my music for that long anyways. But like, let's say if you're on this lockdown wasn't in effect and I was on a road trip, that would mean, like, if I used it to go from where I live at in San Diego to visit relatives like up north, that's at least an 8 or 9 hour drive. Here in California, I would just barely make it before it would run out of battery. So as far as storage goes, I've only been able to test it out with my SanDisk 80 megabytes per second micro SD card, and that's a 64 gigabyte card, and then my Samsung 64 gigabyte card, and they both work on this memory on these memory card slots with no issues at all. So that was good. I haven't been able to test it out with any higher capacity micro SD card slot because I don't have any, and I'm not going to just buy one just for the sake of this review because my money is in very limited budget, especially because I got laid off again from work because of this quarantine. So with 64 gigabyte class 3 or 10 class 10 speed of memory, they work, and transferring and getting files is very easy. I did not use its XDP software. I had no reason to use its XDP software because the XDP software requires an extra step, or actually, if you consider installing the software itself, 2 extra steps. It's just plug and play. Just plug in the USB cable that it came with into your laptop, and you can transfer, drag and drop your music files just like you do in Windows. I don't know how you would do it in iOS because I don't have iOS. So if you guys do have iOS and have this music player, you can put in the comments how you would transfer files that way. Maybe then, if I had iOS, I would probably need that XDP software to transfer music files. But for me, transferring music files was as easy as just plugging in the cable to the player, plug in the player into my laptop or desktop, and drag and drop the files that I want to put onto the player. Oh, the only other issue too that I have is when making playlists on this. That's another pain in the butt if you do it through the player. So I usually just do it through, I make my playlist, the built-in storage or the SD card. I'll make the playlist through Windows and not through the player itself. And then the one other issue, when I go to Tidal and I go to my playlist, it arranges my playlist in a different way than how I have it arranged on my smartphone or on my laptop. But now that I think about it, and using Tidal on all these different platforms, whether it's taken a long time to search for my music files now, so I don't think it's the fault of the Pioneer player. It might be just the fault of Tidal itself, because on my smartphone, when I have my music files, they're arranged in a certain way, and then when I go to my laptop or my desktop, they're arranged again in another different way. So it might just be Tidal and not the player itself. Now let's talk about the sound more in depth, right? Because that's basically why we got this, is so we can get better sound. Like what Pioneer says in their advertising, the time has come to free your headphones from smartphone sound and immerse your senses in the Pioneer XDP-02U. And so, yes, comparing this with my Note 10 Plus and this USB-C DAC adapter, the Pioneer sounds better, way better in almost every instance. Soundstage, detail retrieval, and this is without them being amped. Even with this amped and this not amped, the Pioneer still sounds better. against the LG, which remember, the LG is the whole reason why I got the V35, is to use it as a substitute high-res digital music player, but it can also be used as a smartphone, right? Where this is just a high-res music player, but it can't be used as a smartphone. So the LG comes pretty close when I'm using a DAC, when I'm using one of my portable amp DACs, like this Empire right here. But if it's just these two on their own, without the amplifiers or without the portable amps, the Pioneer still wins. It wins in every instance. The LG gets pretty close in soundstage, but as far as volume, as far as detail retrieval and clarity, and just how the music sounds, period, with like more punchiness and more immersiveness, the Pioneer wins. The LG V35 comes close, and what the good thing with the V35 is, the reason why the V35 comes pretty close, especially when you have these two set up with a portable amp DAC that I have, way more closer than my Note 10 Plus, is because of this feature on LG's, because LG also has a ESS Saber DAC in here on this V35, and that's these two settings right here, the DTS X3D and the Hi-Fi Quad DAC. The Hi-Fi Quad DAC can get it to pretty decent volumes on most headphones, with the exception of the Fostex right here. But the DTS X3D is what gives it the spaciousness and immersiveness of the sound or music. And it gets pretty close, like I said, when they're both using a portable amp DAC. The separation gets more in favor of Pioneer when you're not using the amp DAC, a portable amp DAC like my Empire that I have. So all around for sound, this Pioneer high-res player wins hands down. For sound quality, everything. For sound quality, for immersiveness, the immersiveness, like just when you hear the music, you just want to go with the beat, go with the music. You want to dance, or you want to sing to your favorite songs and stuff like that. The Pioneer does it. And it should, because that's what it's built for. And yes, it does free my headphones from smartphone sound, these two smartphones. LG was close, but no cigar. It gets better with the proper amp DAC. But the only time I really need to use the amp DAC is when I'm using these Fostex headphones. For other headphones that I have wired, then I don't really need to use a portable amp DAC as much. This Pioneer still wins in everything, in sound quality, clarity, immersiveness, soundstage, everything. So the listening experience was much more enjoyable than on the LG V35 ThinQ, and way more enjoyable than my Note 10 Plus and this USB-C headphone DAC adapter right here. So for the price, I believe I got it for like $250. It's been so long now, I forget, but the price should be up on the screen. It is definitely worth it. It has all of the features of its more expensive siblings at a fraction of the cost, and it does sound better than these two smartphones right here, or any of my other smartphones. This smartphone, the LG V35, specializes in headphone sound, and it got beat by this, as well it should, because this is a dedicated high-res music player, and that's all it does, is play high-res music files. And like I said, if you have Tidal, you can play the MQA Master Quality authenticated music files and DSD files in high quality, and that's probably why it sounds so much better too, because when I'm on my LG V35, I don't really know if it's playing those MQA files or DSD files for sure. This one it does, and it plays them really well. So the only thing the LG V35 and my Note 10 Plus have this beat on is the screen. The small screen is nice. The interface is very intuitive. And if you guys want me to do a review on how to go through the interface, just leave me a comment. But like I said, it's so self-explanatory. The only problem I have with the interface is doing music searches on Tidal because of the keyboard. You don't get this regular QWERTY keyboard like this, and it's not going to be of this size. Okay, so it's pretty difficult typing things in this, like what you would type using your. So doing searches on this very small, what is this, Q9 keyboard, something like that, is very hard and not as easy as doing searches on something like this with the QWERTY keyboard. So one of the other feature that you guys might want to know about is the equalizer right here. Have it on balance mode or unbalanced mode, and then adjust the EQ. It's got up to a 10 band graphic equalizer that you can customize yourself. But normally when I use this, I just pretty much, I might want to use the bass enhancer on certain tracks or music, but basically I just leave it off, the equalizer, because what I found is when the equalizer was on, it would lose some of the spaciousness of the sound, meaning that soundstage that you get. The soundstage is not quite as big when I turn the EQ on, or the custom sound. So normally I just turn it off, and I don't even use, like I said, I'm just a beginning audio enthusiast, and I don't know how to set up a custom EQ. I usually have all my EQs set out preset for me through software, and as you guys can see here, it's usually on just auto adjust, or I just don't have it on, period. Like I usually turn off the custom sound or the EQ, because with it turned off, it gives it a better soundstage, a bigger soundstage, especially if I'm using it with the portable amp DAC like the Empire or my Monolith, which I will review in a little bit. But yeah, so that's about it with all its features and sound. So is this Pioneer XDP-02U worth it? Yes, it is. Do I highly recommend it? Yes. Basically, if you like to stream, if you like using streaming music services, and you're aware of the small screen and the limitations of this small screen, then I'm all for it. It's pretty good. It sounds really good. And for the price, you're not going to find too many high-res digital audio players that have this many amount of features, with the twin DACs, the 2 micro SD card slots, the 2 amps with the 2 headphone outputs, and overall great sound. So I think it was a very wise purchasing decision to get this Pioneer player. The only thing is, now I'm kind of like addicted to this whole thing with high-res digital music audio players, and this is a good entry-level one to begin with, and then to move on from there. So what's next for me? I don't know. I'm thinking about getting maybe a FIO M11 or something comparable. I also was looking at the iBasso DX200 or something like that. But for its price, like I said, to performance and bang for the buck, this is highly recommended. It's a very good digital audio player. It's very small and compact. The battery life is just good enough. Unless you, I don't know who you are, but if you have a party going on with friends and family and you use this as your main music source, then you might have an issue with that. 9 hours at the most. But then again, you could just play it plugged in. If you were using it, if I was using this at a get together at a party, I would probably keep it plugged in to its charging cable through an external power source, and then you could still keep your music going. So other than the OTG, USB OTG as a amp DAC was not working on Windows because my Windows couldn't recognize it. But then again, it might be an issue with Windows, because when I used it with my smartphone, it had no issues. So it might just be Windows, or my Windows versions, Windows 10. It has a lot more pluses, like I said, with its twin Saber DACs, its twin amplifiers, and overall great sounding high-res digital audio player. I highly recommend this. So if there's anything I missed, please let me know in the description, and I will get back to you on that, or make a separate video of what I've missed for this review. But all around, in the 2 months that I've had this, it's been a pleasure using this audio player. When I really want to get myself into the music, this is the player I'll go to. And number one, because it just plays music, I don't have to worry about like getting disturbed by calls or text messages or anything when my music is playing. And then number two, like I said, it sounds way better than the my Galaxy Note 10 Plus with its headphone adapter DAC, and also my LG V35, which I was using to double as a high-res music player. This is it right here. So this is the Pioneer XDP-02U. You can get it on Amazon. I believe the price went down now, even lower than when I got it, for $219.75, at least at the time of this review. And if you guys are interested in this player, please use the link in my description, as it does help out my channel and my charity, the Wounded Warrior Project for disabled veterans. This player comes in 3 colors. It comes in a white, like what I have here, a blue, and a pink color. So that is it for this review. If you guys got any value out of this video or have been informed, please like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at The Workout Geek for all my latest happenings and great workout tips. Till next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, take care, and have a fantastic, awesome day.